This is the SpongeBob magic conch shell. Was it really magic or was it just a toy? Let's find out. So this conch was revealed in the episode Club SpongeBob. That starts off with Squidward thinking he's gonna have a normal day, just going on a nice bike ride, getting ready for work. Then there's this random big tree, and SpongeBob and Patrick are at the top in a little tree house, and they are teasing Squidward, talking in W's or something like, "What's up, Widward? What war woo wooing?" Yeah, but Squidward, having FOMO, fear of missing out, circles back and starts talking to them. Now you see me, I'd ignore it because I'm like that. Anyways, he questions their secret code, and like obviously it's just putting W's before every word, Squidward. We also learn about Club SpongeBob, and Squidward at first is bashing the club, calling them morons and stuff, but then SpongeBob strikes his ego and says, "You couldn't get in even if you tried." This sets off Squidward, and he starts bragging about all the clubs he's in. And low-key, dude was in some pretty cool clubs. Remember the Cephalopod Lodge that SpongeBob got him kicked out of? But honestly, I'd rather be in the SpongeBob club. And Squidward wants to be in it too, after Patrick tells him and his nose will definitely not fit in. And what's funny about this is Patrick was being literal, meaning he wouldn't fit in the little hut that they are in. But Squidward, with his big ego, just climbs all the way up the tree and squeezes himself right into the little hut. I gotta be so honest, is this dude stupid? There are literal episodes of Squidward trying his hardest to escape SpongeBob and Patrick, and now he just goes right to them and traps himself in a hut with them. He's actually tripping. We find out they have been stuck in this hut for 3 days. Bro, 3 days? Who has been flipping them Krabby Patties or the Krusty Krab? I know Mr. Krabs ain't doing it. Anyways, they sing a little song for a new member initiation. And bro, this is literally Squidward's own personal hell. He is trapped in a little hut with 2 people he hates the most in the world. And to make it even better, this goofball tries to escape. And instead of just plopping out like he did somehow before, he pulls the entire hut down the tree and it flings them in the air, landing them in some huge kelp forest. SpongeBob and Patrick start celebrating because of how fun that was. And they all also easily escape the hut. What? Why couldn't they have done that before? Anyway, Squidward starts freaking out. This dude's having a full-blown panic attack.
Where are we? We're lost.
I hate to sound like a baby, but boy, I'd be exactly like Squidward if I was in a situation. Also, not only is homie lost, but he's lost with SpongeBob and Patrick. If that hut was hell, this is like whatever is worse than hell. Maybe like 2 hells, I don't know. Also, Squidward breaks the 4th wall here and says,
"Why must every 11 minutes of my life be filled with misery?"
Honestly, because the writers are bullies. Justice for Squidward. Then finally, SpongeBob reveals the magic conch. He shows it in action and asks if he will ever get married. And it says, "Maybe someday." Ooh, snap. Also, bro, look at SpongeBob in this scene. So pretty much this magic conch is like the magic 8-ball of this universe. But I think it's more mysterious than the 8-ball. It might actually be magic. We have to wait. Squidward obviously does not believe in the magic conch and calls it just stupid plastic. And this sets SpongeBob off. How dare he, a member of Club SpongeBob, disrespect the almighty magic conch? Also, we find out that they literally asked this thing for advice before doing anything. Why am I sure there's at least one person in this world who actually does this with a magic 8-ball? So SpongeBob and Patrick ask the conch what they should do in this awful situation, and this thing says, "Nothing." And they obviously don't take this awful advice. No, I'm joking. They literally do nothing. They sit down and do absolutely nothing, and even blank their minds. They look soulless. Squidward obviously gets furious and decides he's gonna find a way out without them, which is the dumbest thing you can do, by the way. But he does it, instantly realizes how terrifying it is, and starts booking it and running and having panic attack after panic attack until he spots a bright light and thinks he found the exit. And man, oh man, if he only knew how big this forest really was. So he goes towards it and looks behind him, and there SpongeBob and Patrick are soulless again. Dang, Squidward. Squidward shows off his survival skills, and he's kind of nasty with it. He got a nice little fence, a cool hat, a campfire going, and even a tent, and somehow a frying pan. How'd you get that, Squidward? That didn't make no sense. But anyways, he spots a little beetle and stabs it and cooks it. And instead of just eating it right away, no, Squidward and his ego must rub it in SpongeBob and Patrick's face instead. But they could absolutely care less, because they are genuinely respecting the conch shell so much and doing nothing for days. And also, Squidward just starts twerking in SpongeBob's face. What is he doing? Like, he kind of got a groove going on, but what a weirdo. And then, to Squidward's luck, he gets the fattest karma any person has ever gotten. So his plan's about to crash, and they, for some reason, gotta drop the load. And I guess the load was a bunch of food and the perfect camping setup, and it falls perfectly right next to SpongeBob and Patrick. Now look, so far, I thought the magic conch shell was just a magic 8-ball, but now I'm second guessing it. Of course, it could be coincidence that them doing nothing actually awarded them with this perfect campsite, but it is a little weird that in their nothing positions, it formed perfectly around them. Maybe this magic conch shell is actually magic. I might be tripping, but if something else weird happens, maybe I'm not. Anyways, of course Squidward and his beetle are jealous. And even the dead, cooked beetle rises from the dead just to smack him in the face. This dude is so unlucky, bro. And so Patrick and SpongeBob start chowing down on the food right in front of Squidward's face, not caring whatsoever about him. And he comes over fiending, looking a mess. And he's feeling really bad for some food. And he starts to ask SpongeBob for some food, but like in the weirdest way possible.
Hey, SpongeBob, earlier I just, I was joking,
Bro, just ask if you can eat. Like literally taking 20 seconds asking while Patrick's mowing everything down. And so SpongeBob and Patrick make Squidward ask the magic conch shell on what he should eat or if he should eat. He asks if he should have the spaghetti or the turkey. And she goes, neither. And then he asks if he should just eat in general. And she says, no, like 50 times. Even Patrick asks if Squidward can eat. And she says no, but then says yes to Patrick eating. Here's where I want to be a little nerd for a second. So I don't know exactly how many phrases the conch has, but if we compare it to the magic 8-ball, the magic 8-ball has 20 probable answers. So that leaves a 1 out of 20 chance for the magic 8-ball to say no. Meaning Squidward literally got this thing to say no so many times. And to have this all be up to chance just seems insane. Especially since when asking a question between 2 food items, it says neither. This magic conch may actually be alive, bro. And she hates Squidward bad. Also, one of the times she says no, she shifts her tone and sounds sassy. No. If this was actually a toy that had set responses with chance, it shouldn't be able to change its tone. Anyways though, Squidward literally can't eat now because of this conch, which is kind of messed up, but all hail the magic conch, I guess. Also, Squidward does this, and he looks crazy, but I don't blame him. If my body could do that, I'd probably do the same thing in the situation. But then, out of a stroke of luck, a park ranger looking dude calls out if anyone needs help. And Squidward is so excited. He's finally saved. But turns out, this park ranger fish literally has a magic conch too. Oh boy. Also, he says the magic conch told him to go find them. So come on, this thing has to be real. How could a yes, no, neither toy tell him to go save them? I might be an overthinker, but this is SpongeBob, and I wouldn't be shocked if the magic conch was actually magic. But to make Squidward's day better, the park ranger asked his magic conch what they should do. And could you guess what it says? Nothing. And so they all sit down and do nothing. And Squidward comes over and actually finally
hails the magic conch.
And that's it. This episode is actually really interesting to me. It's extremely memorable and has imprinted itself into my brain since I first watched it. It's such a random episode, but I love that about it. I would have never guessed from the beginning of this episode of Squidward just riding his bike that the episode would turn out the way it did. Not to mention the magic conch. I was always fascinated with the magic 8-ball as a kid, and this parody was such a great way to show how if 2 idiots like SpongeBob and Patrick were to use something like this, they would treat it like a god. I mean, when I was a kid, I thought if the magic 8-ball said I get a girlfriend, I was guaranteed a girlfriend, but I never got one. So I stopped hailing the magic 8-ball. I think it's funny too how actually obeying the conch worked. It's hilarious to me, and it's perfect to mess with Squidward. Not to sound like a bully, but I think this episode really nailed the gag of torturing Squidward. And it's funny he even broke the fourth wall to talk about this. This is peak SpongeBob, and boy, if I could buy a magic conch, I would. The 8-ball is a boring design. I want to pull a string, but that's, talking about SpongeBob and stuff and just talking about SpongeBob because I'm Max Bob, it's just, Max Bob stuff and talking about